Mr. Speaker, this is not about immigration. This is about states' rights, because Oklahoma law complies with the federal law. Title 8, Section 1623 of the U.S. Code does not prevent a state from giving a benefit to an undocumented resident. What it says is that if a state gives a benefit, it has to make that same benefit available to U.S. citizens from other states. And I will note, it does not say to all citizens from other states, which is what we heard asserted before. It says we have to make the benefit available. Oklahoma law does just that. Title 70, Section 3226 says that our colleges and universities can grant resident tuition to out-of-state students. After all, we want their scholarship. We want their work ethic. We want them to come to Oklahoma because we know that a lot of them will stay. The same federal law that says that states can provide benefits to those not lawfully present documents how a state does this. States must enact a new law that, quote, affirmatively provides for such eligibility, and it must do so after August 22nd, 1966. This provision is in Title 8, Section 1621 of U.S. Code. It's there to basically nullify the existing laws of the time and directed states to start over from scratch and make a conscious choice to provide a benefit that complies with the U.S. law. And so that's what Oklahoma did 7 years later in 2003 by enacting Senate Bill 596. The legislature, and again I'll say it, affirmatively provided for such eligibility by expressly including undocumented students as residents who were eligible for resident tuition. 596 was intentional, it was deliberate, and it didn't just comply with federal law, it was actually a masterful exercise of it. And for those of you who might be willing to write this off as some kind of wacky leftist gimmick, this bill, 596, was co-authored by one of my House District 94 predecessors, Kevin Calvi, one of the most conservative members to ever serve in this body. They didn't create a sneaky immigration loophole. 596 was and remains an explicit expression of state sovereignty. Our law says that in Oklahoma, if you grow up here, you go to school here, you graduate here, you are a resident and you qualify for resident tuition. And if you're undocumented, we ask you to do one thing in return. We want a commitment that you will pursue American citizenship. We literally ask these kids to sign on the dotted line and say, I want to become an American citizen. This bill throws that away. And here is the irony. Title 70, Section 3226 of Oklahoma law will continue to give resident tuition to kids from elsewhere. Arkansas, Texas, Japan, no commitment, no strings attached. This bill says we will give this benefit to the kid from Tokyo while we take it away from the kid from Tologa. I want you to think about two kids, Oklahoma girls, grow up next door to each other, besties from their very first playpen play date, played on the same playgrounds, took the same classes, studied for the same ACTs, cheered for the same football teams on Friday nights, excited about prom and graduation. One was born at the local hospital. The other was brought here when she was just 2 years old. But for both of them, the only home they know is the United States. The second girl is Maria, first in her family to dream of college. Her parents told her no. They were terrified that applying would make all of them a target. But Maria believed in Oklahoma. She believed that if she worked harder and studied longer, that this state would see her as one of us. She believed enough to risk everything, to dream for this chance to learn and to become an American citizen. And right now, America's dream is pending before the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. We already have a federal court order in place here in Oklahoma. Undocumenteds are already paying out-of-state tuition because the court says they must. But here's what most people don't understand. Appeals courts do not rule on hypothetical cases. By changing the law, we render their appeal option as moot. And by doing so, we will kill Maria's dream and our state's chance to defend its own sovereignty. Mr. Speaker, I'll recap. We already comply with federal law. We've done everything the law requires. We passed a law explicitly stating the state benefit. We did that with Senate Bill 596. We offer the same benefit to kids from other places, U.S. citizens. That's in Title 70, Section 33 or 3226. This is not an immigration issue. This is a residency issue. This is an education issue. This is the state of Oklahoma complying with federal law. And under the 10th Amendment, education and residency are states' issues. And that, Mr. Speaker, I think is the most troubling part of this debate. It's not the policy, it is the surrender. The DOJ and this administration are ordering Oklahoma to change how we run our education system. But, Mr. Speaker, the 10th Amendment is clear. Powers not delegated to the federal government are reserved to the states. Residency is a state issue. Education is a state responsibility. Even the president agrees with that. Mr. Speaker, that's why this is so embarrassing. Our own Attorney General decided to roll over and get his belly scratched in federal court instead of standing up and fighting for our rights against this massive federal overreach. The pit bull became a little tiny purse dog. It is our time to stand up for our state's rights. Passing this bill won't fix anything. It just waves a giant white flag of surrender to Washington, D.C. Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses. Well, Mr. Speaker, here they are. They're in our classrooms. They are yearning to learn. They're willing to risk everything, not for a handout, but for a seat in the lecture hall. They are trying to become citizens of the only nation they have ever known. The United States of America is their home. If we pass this bill, we are not being tough on immigration. We're being weak on states' rights, and we are being intentionally cruel to our own children. Don't rob these kids of their dream, and don't destroy our opportunity to fight for Oklahoma's state rights. Vote no.